Hare Krishna devotees. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedant Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Desha Tarane. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapt Kanchan Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashbhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Once again, welcome devotees, Prabhujis and Matajis to today's class. And we shall continue with chapter number 5, which is, what is the name of chapter number 5, Mataji? Anyone? Anyone? What is the name of chapter number 5? Karma Yoga in Action.
Karma Sannyasa Yoga.
Yeah, Karma Sannyasa Yoga or Karma Yoga in Action. And third chapter's name was also Karma Yoga, right?
Yes.
And fifth is also. And in between is the Transcendental Knowledge or the Bhakti Yoga. That is not really Bhakti Yoga, but Transcendental Knowledge is given there in that chapter. So we'll continue after we covered verse number 5.6. in which comparison was made. So this section basically deals with so we were here, section 2, verse, only 6 verses are 6 to 12, 7 to 12. How to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga. One performing Nishkam Karma Yoga identifies neither with his body nor the activities that his body performs. So Nishkam Karma Yoga, we know that actions performed by the individual as a living entity and certainly, earns certain kind of fruits or benefits, and those all benefits are offered to Lord Krishna as as for his pleasure, and the person does not use those for his own sense gratification, then it becomes Nishkam Karma Yoga. But if we do Sakam Karma, the opposite spectrum is Sakam Karma Yoga, in which the individual performs activities in order to gain certain benefits or certain results out of which he wants to enjoy. So this is Nishkam Karma Yoga. The person does not want to enjoy any kind of fruits or benefits out of his activities and offers whatever accrues the benefits of fruits, they are offered to Lord Krishna himself. So this is Nishkam Karma Yoga, which we shall be talking about. Now, just let us take a situation. Nishkam Karma Yoga is very difficult to perform. But if we do not want a seed to grow, what are the possibilities we can do to the seed? We have sowed a seed in the ground and we want that seed should not germinate. What activities can be done? Or if you have not sown the seed, but you want it not to germinate, then what are the possibilities we can do?
So debar the water.
Sorry?
Debar the water, I mean no water to be given.
Divide the water supply. Yes, water is very essential.
And the soil, it should be like sand. In sand, if you want to grow anything, it will not grow, right? So
yeah, proper soil is another condition.
Proper soil, yes.
Yeah, or
and away from the sun.
Yeah, put it in dark, it will not grow. You may roast it, you may boil it, or you may heat the seed, then also it will not germinate. So that is a comparison, an analogy in relation to sin. If we want that sinful reactions should not happen to our activities, then what should we do? We should perform devotional service to Krishna. We should do chanting. If we have performed any kind of sinful activities, then reactions do not incur upon us or do not affect us, then what we should do? We should do chanting. And chanting, we know that chanting has some removal of sinful reactions, not only of this life, but many, many past lives. So this is very important that sinful reactions, if we want that whatever activities we are performing, no sinful reaction should take place, we should do devotional service to Lord Krishna and also do chanting. Working with detachment, performance of Nishkam Karma Yoga, that is its subject here. One performing Nishkam Karma Yoga identifies neither with his body nor the activities that his body performs. By his detached action, he is free from reaction of his activities. So this is the example of which I gave about a seed, that if we want that we do act, but we do not incur any kind of sinful reaction, we have to surrender ourselves to Lord Krishna, do loving devotional service to him, and do pure chanting. I think all of you are doing some or other number of chanting per day. And that is how we have developed a taste for Krishna consciousness. In the level 1, so many people joined, but very few joined level 2. In level 2 itself, where we are today, there were more than 70 persons, but only 10 to 15 persons are coming to regularly. So that means we have a determination. We want that sinful activities should not touch us. We want that we should get away from material entanglement. We want that we should serve or do devotional service to Lord Krishna. That is why all of us are here. Now, Nishkam Karma Yoga, the perfect knowledge, this is the theme of Bhagavad Gita basically. I am not material body, I am soul, part and parcel of Supreme Lord. I want to render service to him and I will work in a detached spirit. So these are 3 components or 3 elements of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Now, just imagine we have got a hand, we have got 2 hands in our body. Now both these hands work for us, but we are part and parcel of body of Lord Krishna. That means we should also work for Krishna, since like our hands are working for us or our legs are working for us, and we as a body, we as a part and parcel of Lord Krishna, we should also work for him. And what is the work that he desires? We should do render devotional service to him. We should do chanting. And we should offer all results to Krishna. So that is our detached spirit. Now, otherwise, what will happen? What will happen otherwise if we do not do so? If we do not do devotional service, what is going to be our fate?
Sinful action and bondages and birth cycle, it will be repeated.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So, the evidence that we have taken birth in this material world is the very evidence indicates that we did some sinful activities in our past life. That is why we are here. And what is other evidence of our sinful activities in our past lives? First is repeated birth cycle, entry into the cycle of birth and death. Second, our sufferings. We are suffering. So these 2 symptoms indicate that we did perform some sinful activities in our previous life, and we forgot that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that we are a detached part from him, and we have to go back to him. So we forgot and rendered sinful activities, and these activities, every action has a reaction. When we do some sinful activity, reaction will happen, and the reaction is in the form of our sufferings and repeated birth and death. So, punarapi janmam, punarapi marnam, purnapi janani jatare shainam. That means we are repeatedly taking birth, repeatedly dying, and repeatedly entering into the womb of a lady, and ultimately taking birth again. So this is our fate. How, who is a Nishkam Karma Yogi? A person who says that I am part and parcel of Lord, I am a servant of God. What work you do? I work what God has allotted to me. And what do you, how do you do the work? I work hard with sincerity, dedication, and to the best of my ability. And what do you do with the results? I hand it over to God. So this is the profile of a person who is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. That means a Nishkam Karma Yogi does not identify himself with the body. He thinks that he is only part and parcel of body, and he is part and parcel of Supreme Personality's body, and he is eternal servant. So whatever work God has assigned to him, that is what is prescribed duties as per Varna and Ashram have been allotted to me. That is my work, and real work is rendering devotional service and chanting of holy name of Krishna. That is my real work. And what about the results which incur after chanting and doing devotional service? I hand it over to Lord Krishna. So this is the profile of a person who can be called to be a Krishna Nishkam Karma Yogi. So steadily devoted soul offers results to me, Bhagavad Gita 5.12 verse. Others are greedy for the fruits of labor, result in entanglement. But if we are greedy about our own senses, enjoyment, we want to enjoy the fruits of our work, then probably we get bound by those actions and enter into this cycle of birth and death and enter into misery again and again. So this is what is happening. In fact, why, people are working very, very hard. If people in mode of passion, they work very hard. They want to earn more money. They have many desires. They want to fulfill those desires materially, but they are still not happy because that gives chapal sukha or flickering happiness for sometimes. Material happiness, we know that is not lasting or not ever lasting. It is spiritual happiness which lasts for long. So person keep on getting entangled in this cycle repeatedly, and the result is he forgets his relationship with Krishna. So those who are Nishkam Karma Yogi, they do not enter into this cycle. They offer everything to Lord Krishna because they know that they are not body, they are soul, they are part and parcel of Krishna, they are eternal servant of Krishna, and they withdraw themselves from material entanglement. But material entanglement to the extent that all services or material objects are used for Krishna's service, then he is a Nishkam Karma Yogi also. That means he is doing work in action, that he is doing work, but not for his own sense gratification, but for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Yes, Richa Jain Mataji, please. Continue.
Prabhuji, a question. Previous slide.
Richa Jain Mataji.
Sir, Prabhuji, a question on the previous slide.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, actually, what happens, like for example, if one is engaged in some welfare activities, per se, and sometimes I'm also sir, engaged in some welfare activities, but I try to do the work as per the best of the capabilities and abilities. And when the things starts happening, I sometimes feel great and proud of the things which are happening, but there and then I correct myself that this has to be devoted towards the God, not the fruits I cannot enjoy. I could try to correct myself, but Prabhuji, what could be the further ways in order to correct this action? Because whatever I do, I want to devote it to God, that feeling, that feeling of something doing great is also, I don't want to keep it with me. What could be the further way in order to just to pass it to the Lord?
Yes, Mandi, thank you. This is a very, very common question and dilemma of each of one of us. There are three modes of material nature. What welfare activities, maybe feeding the needy, or providing clothing to poor persons, giving them all kind of assistance in their day-to-day life, or removing their hardships, or in any form. So what you are doing is in mode of goodness, right? It is in mode of goodness. But beyond the three modes of meditation, and out of doing such an activity, you derive some kind of happiness, some kind of bliss within your heart and mind. You feel certain kind of peace. You feel that God has made me capable enough to reduce the suffering of such and such persons. So you feel that kind of pleasure and happiness. Now, secondly, sometimes what happens when a person in goodness, I'm not talking about you, Mataji, it is just general thing, that when sometimes one does such activities, he feels proud that, oh, I am able to do it because I can afford it, and I can think of it. So others are not able to do. So you feel yourself slightly higher than others. Third aspect is, of course, a sense of pride will may be there. And third aspect is that you feel that you have more knowledge how to utilize my extra resources for the help of other needy persons. So this is a state of goodness. Now, such persons, when they do activities in mode of goodness, they are elevated to higher planets. They go to higher planets in their next life. They enjoy long life there, enjoy the opulences of heavenly planets, and as soon as the balance of this good activity is over, the credit is finished, then you come back to the cycle of birth and death. Now, Krishna consciousness or Shuddha Sattva is a state higher than the mode of goodness, in which you offer everything. Now, you consider yourself as a postman. What is the role of postman? He receives mail from certain persons and deliver to certain person. He has no role in it. Just consider yourself in that position. The price, the feeling of happiness, the feeling of pride, feeling of possession, higher knowledge, feeling of having more resources, let it be offered to Krishna. This is your Krishna. You gave me this thing and I passed it on to the next needy person. It is not mine. So please accept it. Just say Krishna Arpanam. Don't feel that I am doing. And we will come to this. There are three doers and I am not the doer. We consider ourselves as doer. In fact, it is the material nature which is doing things. We consider ourselves as Prakriti Kriya Mani Gune Karmani Sarvasa. Vimud Atma Karta Ham iti manyate. The person thinks that I am the doer. So we are not the doer. We are simply, we have been made means or the role of given a role of postman to, serve others. That up to that extent, if you, every time you do something, see, make it as an offering to Lord Krishna and feel that Lord Krishna, you gave me this thing for being passed on to this person, needy person. Please accept it as such. Right? So we have to develop this consciousness. Is gradually it will come up. Otherwise, a sense of, on the other hand, the person in mode of passion, in the winters, you see people are distributing blankets to poor persons sleeping on pavements or streets and taking pictures and making a big blow advertisement in newspapers. So this is a mode of passion because they want honor, respect in society. They want, so that is not a good activity. But what you are doing with pure heart, you are serving poor and needy. That is a very good activity, and it is being done in mode of goodness. So whatever you derive from doing this good activity, offer it to Krishna. Krishna Arpanam. Krishna Arpanam. Krishna. It is not mine, God. It is your.
Exactly, Prabhu. This explanation of postman. So I'll consider myself to be the postman only, nothing than that,
Very,
nothing more
very
than.
nice. Very nice. That is a very good, in fact, consciousness that I am just a means or medium. The Lord has given me this opportunity to serve others. Nothing belongs to me. It is yours, and I'm passing it on to the needy person. So this kind of feeling is good. Is it okay, Mataji? Am I able to explain your?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji, Krishna Arpanam and postman.
Yes,
So
just remember, I am the medium. Lord has blessed me to be the medium. He has given me so many resources for distribution to the needy persons.
thank you so much.
I'm not the only user of this thing.
Exactly,
Yes,
Prabhu.
this one, Mataji, Richard and Mataji.
Prabhuji, before this, you said na punarapi janani punarapi maranam. That two lines I want to sing because it is very close and I often sing that. So hearing from you, I just desiring to sing that two lines.
Yes, please do. Punarapi
Thank you.
Janma, Punarapi.
Yes. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jఠరే shayanam. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jఠరే shayanam. इह संसारे बहुत सारे, इह संसारे बहुत सारे, कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारी, कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारी. भज गोविंदम, भज गोविंदम, गोविंदम भज मूढ़मते. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
Very
जी.
nice,
Thank
Mataji, very
you.
nice. This sansare ati dushtare is very, this world is, material world is very, very tough and difficult. And hey, Krishna, just get me out of this ocean of miseries. This is my prayer to you. So beautiful.
Yes.
This is,
Thank you, Prabhu ji.
thank you, Mataji. So we continue with 5.7, Mataji. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. योग युक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेंद्रिय सर्वभूतात्म भूतात्मा कुर्वनपि न लिप्यते. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled.
Yeah. So this is the formula how to not get entangled with our activities. Mataji, that question that you asked. One who
Exactly.
works in devotion, we are serving everything, whatever we are offering to others from our resources, we do it as a worship to the Lord Krishna. And when such a pure consciousness develops, and mind and senses are also controlled, because we are not doing it for our own sense enjoyment. And so in such a condition, a person sees everybody is dear to me, and also he is also dear to everyone. So this way, person does not get entangled into the cycle of sense enjoyment and self-satisfaction. Yes, this one also, Mataji, 5.89.
नैव किंचित करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्वित् पश्यन्च नव स्पृश घ्न श्रगन्गच्छ न स्वप्नश्वसन प्रलप प्रलप निविसृजन हनु मिन्मिषि त्रिमिषिनपि इंद्रियाणीन्द्रियेषु आर्यन. In the divine consciousness, engage in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects, and that is aloof from them. He's aloof from them.
So you see, this is another big explanation of what we just now discussed. A person does everything with his senses. He comes in contact with sense objects many times, but he does not consider himself as the doer. He thinks he is away from all those activities. That means he does not consider himself as a doer. He is just a medium, or like a role of a postman. So that is how it is happening. Whether he's engaged in, we are engaged in all these activities: seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Who is doing all this? The consciousness is doing it, all these things. And what is the consciousness? Is the property of soul. And why soul is doing it? Because super soul is permitting. So one whatever one does not consider himself as the doer, considers himself as the medium only. And he always knows that only the material senses are engaged. He knows that my sense organs are engaged in all executing in these kind of activities, and he himself is aloof from them. So now, how God could be aloof from them? This is exemplified here. A picture will come here. Here, a person divides. So this is further explanation. How one is aloof from it? You can see the picture here. This is a lotus leaf. This is lotus flower, and this is a drop of water. The drop of water is lying on the lotus leaf, but it is not touching the leaf. The leaf does not touch the water drop. As soon as there is a small blow of air or wind, then it falls down without leaving any mark on the leaf. So one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results into the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as a lotus leaf is unattached by the water drop. So this is what is happening. The Nishkam Karmi Yogi, in fact, does not get in, though his senses are engaged in different kinds of activities, and he comes in contact with different kind of sense objects, yet he does not consider himself as the doer. He whatever happens, action results into reaction that is offered to Lord Krishna. And similarly, when this is done by a Nishkam Karma Yogi or a devotee, then there is no sinful reaction. So yeah, this one you would like to? Brahmani Adhyaya Karmani Sangam. Yes.
ब्रह्मण्यधाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रमिवाम्भसा. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the result unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Hare Krishna.
Now I'll take an example again here. Now when we joined our first job, then after working for a month, we were waiting for the salary, whether it has come or not. We'll check our account repeatedly, whether the salary has been paid to the account or not. We are so eager to have it. For a couple of months, this goes on, Then there is a time for annual increment. Then you want that your salary has increased or not. So this kind of eagerness to know that to realize the fruits of our activity, which we did for 30 days, then it exists for some time. Then as we get old in our service or become senior or get promoted to a higher position, we do not bother about salary. We consider it will automatically be credited to my account, And then when when you reach a higher position, then you don't bother about it. You don't even spend all entire salary. Then you are left with surplus funds also. So similarly, a person should in that state utilize his extra resources for service, performing devotional service to Krishna, doing chanting and doing charitable work like what Mataji just now. And charitable work is related to service to Lord Krishna in any form. Donations, maybe preparing dresses for Lord Krishna and Radharani, maybe some kind of jewelry or maybe ornaments or maybe, dresses or flowers or any kind of service which you consider. So this how, then you are not attached to your salary. You are, in fact, using salary for devotional service of Lord Krishna. So this is how this activity can be diverted towards with a spiritual consciousness. You can see Prabhupada here. He's in Thompson Park, New York, doing chanting and talking, reciting the holy name of Lord Krishna, and how people got attracted because he himself never considered himself as the doer. He considered that is the message that of Guru that he has to pass on to his disciple, and this is what he did. And people from different walk of life, they just gather around this stratagem. You just saw this video. And wait. So 5.11, yes. Yes, Chanda Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं आत्मशुद्धये. The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. Hare Krishna.
So the purpose of yoga is purification of self, purification of heart. And we earlier studied only a person who has purified his heart by performing different kind of sacrifices is eligible for taking sannyas. Only he can be but a person whose heart is not purified, he carries some kind of desires within his heart, then he cannot take a sannyas, because his sannyas will be imperfect, because his mind will keep on dwelling on sense objects always. So the purpose of all yogic exercises is purification of heart. Yes, Mataji, this one also.
Yes, Prabhuji. युक्तः कर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्टिकम् अयुक्तः कामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offered the result of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. Hare Krishna.
So the same point is repeated here, that the person who offers fruits or benefits of his all activities to Lord, he is in a state of bliss and peaceful. He is peaceful. But a person who wants to enjoy the fruits and benefits of his activities, or does it for own sense enjoyment, not for Krishna's satisfaction, then he becomes entangled. And entangled means, again, as was discussed, just was told by Mataji, that repeated birth, cycle of birth and death and sufferings which we have in this material world, these are the outcome of such and such. Now, why we have repeated birth and death? Then I will go back to the same question once again. Why one takes different forms of life after leaving one form of body?
Because the desire which we desire to earn, and in this life we are not able to get it, so that desire is carried with our karma to the next birth, and then to another next to next, like that.
Yeah, thank you, Mati. So you mean to say that unfulfilled desires. Can you see this picture here? It is, this is sage is performing devotional service to Lord Krishna. and he is not getting entangled into any kind of material activities. On the other hand, you can see this person who is eating some kind of non-vegetarian food and drinks also in his hand. Now, this is a person who wants to eat indefinitely, indiscriminately, whatever he is there, without any consideration whether good for health or bad for health. Then next birth he gets that of a hog or pig. Pig, we know that it doesn't discriminate anything. For him, the best kind of sweetmeat or chocolate is as good as the stool which he normally eats. So this is the fruit of result. As you said, the main reason for our birth and re-entry into birth cycle of birth and death, repeated entry into birth and death, is our unfulfilled desires. There are two factors which have been discussed in Bhagavad Gita. First is, of course, the desires, and secondly, desires means the intense propensity at the time of leaving our body. At that moment, that is why Krishna says that Anya Abhilashita Sunyam. Just think, Gyan Karmadi Anavritam, without any knowledge, without any Gyan, without any action. If one has just one Abhilasha, that is of Krishna's devotional service, then he is not entangled in any kind of activities. Or in other words, Krishna has also mentioned that whatever bhav one has at the time of leaving this body, he attains it for certain. So this is very important. And second factor which is the cause of our repeated entry is our karma in this birth. We know we talked about karma, that Nishkam Karma Yoga we are talking about, but we talked about akarma and vikarma. So unless we enter into akarma stage, we will keep on entering into the cycle of birth and death again and again. Now, Nrigas fall down due to fruitive activities. Does anybody remember this story? Anyone? Maharaja Nrigas story? Prabha Mataji, Riya Mataji, Siraja Paudel Mataji, Dr. Ipsita. We have discussed this story earlier also on two occasions. Maharaja Tega's story. This pastime, you can see two pictures are given, a lizard in a well, and this is the two groups of Brahmins and Pandits. They are fighting over a cow. Cow is there. There's a herd of cow you can see around. Don't remember. Anyway, Maharaja Nriga used to perform a lot of sacrifice and penances for his sense gratification, for material gains. Now, once he got a herd of thousands of cows and wanted to donate to a section of Brahmana. Now, what happens that this Brahmana, after getting these 1,000 cows, he is going, and one of the cows returns back and gets mixed up with cows which had not been donated. So what happens that this cow which has been donated earlier gets donated to another Brahmana. Now the first Brahman, when he counts that there one cow is missing, he comes back to Maharaja and Riga and says that, oh, look, my one cow is missing. But the Maharaja by that time had given already to another Brahmana. So the two group of Brahmanas, they start fight with each other. They quarrel over the issue, and Maharaja, since could not do anything, both the Brahmanas then curse the Maharaja Naga that you will become lizard in your next birth, and because you have donated, you have done a aparad, Brahma aparad, by donating a cow or redonating a donated cow. So this curse, he became a lizard and remained in this well for thousands of years, and ultimately Lord Krishna himself liberated this form of life. But the main reason, the main theme of this story is that Maharaja Nraga was doing everything, all sacrifices and penances for his own sense gratification. He was not doing for Krishna's service. He was doing for attaining material benefits and for his own increasing his opulences, increasing his kingdom, in getting more and more money and more influence and more power and strength. So that is why this sacrifice is not acceptable. The purpose of saying this story is that whatever we do, charitable work or whatever activity we do, we should not do it for sense gratification. We should do it for service of Lord Krishna. Yeah. King Raga fond of performing fruitive activities, sacrifices, and charity, but he did one mistake, and the mistake was that he dissatisfied the two Brahmanas groups and inquiring into results to become lizard for a very long time, and he was ultimately delivered by Lord Krishna. So he is confessing the futility. After he was liberated, he confessed that I did these fruitive activities of the results of which, or benefits of which I wanted to enjoy. That is why. Therefore, devotional service is the only means of getting out of this cycle. So we come to third section of this platform of knowledge, the three doers. In fact, it is the three modes of material nature which make one to do any activity. But this out of our own foolishness, we consider that I am the doer. And who are the three doers? We'll discuss in this. Yes, anybody would like to read after Chanda Mataji? Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Platform of knowledge, knowing the three doors. The living being, doors number one, whose know that all bodily activity are automatically carried out by the modes of material nature. Doors number two, after those activity are sanctioned by the super soul. And third, doers attain the enlightenment through that knowledge.
Yeah. So there are basically, when an activity is performed, there are three doers, not one doer. The living entity is not the alone doer of it. The living entity is one doer, number one. Now, who is the living entity? The individual who thinks of doing something, or the soul which desires something. That the desire is fulfilled by bodily activities. And who sanctions this desire? The desire is sanctioned by the super soul or the Paramatma who is sitting in the heart, in our heart. And when sanction of Paramatma is available, or the sanction of super soul is given, thereafter the three modes of material nature or the material nature of Prakriti gets the work accomplished. So there are three doers. First is Jiva, or the living being. Second is, of course, the super soul. Second, of course, is the three modes of material nature, which causes one to desire something. And third is ultimately the sanctioner, the person, Anumanta, Anudrashta, the person who is just observing and also permitting things to happen, and that is super soul. So God, super soul, is present in our heart, we know. Where as soon as living entity or Jiva desires to get something, it is sanctioned by super soul, and the three modes of material nature or Prakriti makes it happen, or takes it, permits it to take a shape of it. So there are three doers, and we will know about these things. So Prabhuji, you can read this one also.
Soul, material nature, and the super soul. Enlightenment through the knowing the three doers in perceptive.
In this verse number 13 to 16, these three aspects have been discussed or explained in detail. One is the Jiva, or the living entity, who desires something. The material nature, three modes of material nature, they permit these things to happen. They facilitate this thing to happen. And who sanctions? Super soul or Paramatma. So, yeah, Prabhuji, would like to read this one also?
Sarva karmani mansa sannyas yaste sukham vasi navya tavre pure dehi naiva kuran na karayan. When the embodied living being control his nature and mentally renounce all the action. He resides happily in the city of nine gates, the material body, and neither working nor causing work to be done.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, sab karmani mansa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navdware pure dehi naiva kurvan karyana. Now, as soon as the jiva desires something, the three modes of material nature or the nature makes it happen, facilitates the activity to take place, and who is residing in this gate of nine? We have 9 gates in the body. What are those 9 gates? Prabhuji, will you remember? Our body is called the city of 9 gates. What are those 9 gates? Anyone?
Yes,
Eyes, two ears,
Yes.
genital,
one
then
mouth,
excretory, mm,
Yeah.
orifices,
Orifices,
and
yes, okay.
nostrils.
Yeah, 2 nostrils. So you need 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, mouth, genitals, and of course the organ of evacuation or anus. So these are 9 gates which are gates of our physical or material body. When activities are performed and all the actions, all the results are renounced, that is a Nishkam Karmyogi, when he activates, performs actions with this within this body of 9 gates, then renounced results do not bind him to any kind of work. That means there is no reaction. So a jiva, there are 2 type of person. One is who has a spiritual approach or acts in the spiritual consciousness or godly consciousness, and the person who does any activity in the material consciousness for the purpose of self-enjoyment. So that is binding. But a person who is working in akarma manner or in a renounced manner, he, though working within the city of these 9 gates, he does not get entangled with the results of his activities. So the first doer is, yes, Prabhuji, this one you can read. Okay, anyone else would like to read it?
Can I read,
Yes,
Prabhuji?
yes, Mataji, please continue.
Knowledge of the 3 doers, Bhagavad Gita 5.13 to 16. Doer 1, the self, Jiva, situated in the city of 9 gates, 9 holes of the body, not working or causing work to be done.
You are not audible, Mataji.
Oh,
Hare Krishna. Ipsita Mataji, can you hear me or read it out? You raised your hand. Dr. Ipsita. Hare Krishna, am I audible? Dr. Ipsita, you raised your hand. Would you like to read? Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
yeah.
Am I audible, Mataji? Maybe there is some internet connectivity issue. Dr. Ipsita, would you like to read? You raised your hand. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Am I audible now? But I can't hear your voice. There may be some internet issue. Please read this one, this text. Yes. I'm not able to hear your voice. Am I audible now?